Hey, it's Zachary from Film Lovers or Sick People. I'd like to briefly provide some clarity for you. In my last video, an analysis of part 3 of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, I really started to discuss some what I consider to be incredibly interesting concepts that I don't want to be misconstrued, and I don't think a lot of people are engaging with some of what I said in the last video correctly, or at least in a way that I thought was kind of the implied way to engage with those ideas. I do understand from being on YouTube for as long as I have been that nothing is truly implied. You don't really imply anything on here. There's really no nuance. You really have to deliberately and very clearly state beyond a shadow of a doubt what you feel in an analysis video, or else people are going to have the wrong impression of it. So I've even prepared this video in a sense. It's about the importance of pop Satanism. So in the last video, I did say that that religion is absurd. And I believe religion is not a valid concept to explore in popular art. Postmodernism has been the ethos of pop culture for decades. God is dead, yeah, we killed him, and it was the right thing to do. Satanic films are interesting, though, and yes, I would consider Chilling Adventures of Sabrina satanic cinema or Satanist art. Production designer Lisa Schoper, a practicing mystic herself, made sure the show was symbolically potent and authentic, meaning Roberto Aguirre-Sacasa intended for the series to responsibly express the Lima mysticisms and satanic rites and rituals. While I feel the non-stop satanic imagery serves as an attractive gothic backdrop, working compositionally best when juxtaposed as in a cheerleader with blood-red eyes and platinum blonde hair and pleasant old aunts, right? Making blood sacrifices in Lucifer's name whilst baking cookies and cakes. An argument could be made for the legitimacy of its overtly absurdist spirituality. Traditional concepts of God are more than tired. God, as a concept, is more than dead. Doesn't even have the dignity of being zombified. God is beyond dead. There isn't a single concept that's been more deconstructed than God, specifically the Abrahamic one of the West. Perhaps Aguirre-Sacasa, and perhaps through Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, is making good on the satanic promise made by underground queer cinema legend Kenneth Anger in his Rising films, Lucifer Rising and Scorpio Rising, respectively. I actually believe that. Hell, I'm the one positing the theory, so I better at least feel that way. Only, unlike boring old God, impossibly static no matter how desperately some try to energize his archetypal features, Satan is not static being, rather dynamic becoming. Satanist art is not monolithic, and it's changed a lot since Anger's landmark and essential Luciferianism. Satanist cinema that is philosophically sound is always of feminist characteristics, from Rosemary's Baby, as an example, being about a woman's right to choose, and the horror of being forced to have a child she does not want to have. Satan can still remain the fixed antagonist, as he does in Sabrina and in Rosemary's Baby, but a feminist dialogue must be engaged by the art itself, else it's an impure satanic expression and or statement. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina develops Satanist cinema further to do away with the patriarch Lucifer has become. Satan means adversary by symbolic definition. Satan must be adversarial to the narrative. Sabrina dethroned Satan as a concept. We killed God a long time ago. It took a lot longer to properly do the same to Satan. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina says with a knowing, wry, and innocent-looking grin, Satan is dead, and we have killed him. We've finally deconstructed the devil to dust. Sabrina rejects the artistic legitimacy of God because he isn't legitimate. He's a dead concept. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina paints a target on Satan's back and hits the bullseye over and over and over again. The devil is no more. He's been made antiquated. What Part 3 of Sabrina leaves us with, in his patriarchal, tyrannical place, is a new matriarchal monarchy of hell, which almost certainly is doomed to fail, as the series is queer anarchic, and must destroy any king or ultimately queen who demonstrates power, since power is a postmodern abuse leading to authority, and authority is punishment, and punishment is the language of fascism. Although God and Satan have similar symbolic characteristics, they have separate cultural values, because over time they've become philosophically removed from each other. God was the first to go. The devil went after. To engage with God in pop art now is something I consider to be mostly disingenuous and a postmodern redundancy. Engaging with demonics, with Satanist thought, is important because Satan was still a living, viable concept. A living, viable concept until Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, that is. Until the chaotically feminine rejection of his value and complete separation of his queer feminist import as well. Satanism used to have feminist qualities. It used to have queer positive qualities. But now it's time to remove that. Remove that from the artistic messaging and filmic grammars that we use to express our ideologies with. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, C-A-O-S, sounds like chaos. The biblically feminine rebel. Lilith, Eve, Delilah, forgiven and recontextualized here. Divine hierarchies of punishing patriarchs are destroyed here, and something new and worthier is put in its place. The importance of Satanist cinema can never be overstated. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is more than an important show, an important series, an important work of art. It's a completely flawless one, in my opinion. It does what it does what it wants to do. It succeeds in its task, and its task isn't just tell an ironic, kitschy story. Its task is to finally kill the concept of Satan. Nietzsche could say, God is dead and we have killed him. And Aguirre-Sacasa can say that without any sort of morbid regret. God's been dead for a long time. We need to stop acting like he's still viable, like he's still alive, like there's still things to discover within that archetype, because it kind of infantilizes us as an entire species, as an artful species. So, Satan was next. Aguirre-Sacasa says, Satan is dead, and we have killed him, and we've killed him with kitsch, we've killed him with color, we've killed him with immaculate, opulent, operatic composition, we've killed him with Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. All hail Sabrina. I love this show to death, and I hope this video helps to prove that it's one of the most important pieces, if not the most important piece, of Satanist art ever, at least in pop culture. It's so far as I'm concerned, it's the most important piece of Satanist art made ever. It's the most important thing. It's fucking rad, man. It's fucking great. More importantly than that, it's one of the most astounding, astonishing, remarkable works of art that deals with spiritual archetypes that I've ever seen. Chilling Adventures of Sabrina is masterful in every dimension. And I wanted to make this video to really provide clarity. Because when I say that God is absurd, that God is no longer worth discussing, that God is invalid, I mean it in every possible way. And I mean it because postmodernists that came before Aguirre-Sacasa, existentialists and nihilists that came before Aguirre-Sacasa destroyed that concept already. It's unnecessary to dive deeper into it. And by the way, believing in God is philosophical suicide. You have no other alternative. But to really start experimenting with Satanism in order to destroy the last great biblical patriarchy. And Chilling Adventures of Sabrina? Woof! Oh boy. Masterpiece. A masterpiece through and through until the end of time.